So I'll be starting the talk. I'll be dealing with the sutureless scleral fixated IOLs. So I'll be talking with the classical blue dial. Since I'm an anti-segment surgeon, uh, I would like to focus on the small tips, the tricks, and the traps that one might face when you are handling any situation where you are forced to do a blue dial, or you are opting for a blue dial. I have no financial disclosures. So coming to the history, a sutureless fibrin glue-assisted scleral fixated IOL was first done by Dr. Amar Agarwal in 2007. Then after Dr. Shariat invented the intrascleral tunnel tuck, he moved on from just placing it beneath the scleral flap to making a scleral tunnel and tucking in the haptics. Since then, it has undergone several modifications. Now, what extra do we need when we're planning or when we are faced with a situation where we have to go in for a sutureless glue dial? So, we need a glue dial marker, but this is again dispensable. You can always use your classical calipers and just mark it across the pupillary center so that you are bang in the center. You can use your toric IL marker uh, and blue dial forceps. You need a pair, fibrin glue, trocar cannula, and AC maintainer, or else you can use a trocar cannula as a trocar AC maintainer, and a vitrectomy unit is a must. This I wouldn't say is extra because in cataract you need to have a vitrectomy unit standby always. Now this is a small animation of what exactly we do in a blue dial. So we make two scleral pockets, 180 degree exactly one apart. Then we use a foldable IOL. We grasp the leading haptic, externalize it through one pocket, and then the trailing haptic is again externalized through the opposite scleral flap. And then we make a 26 gauge tunnel with a bent needle. This is a chariot's pocket, and then we tuck the haptic into it, and essentially we fix it with the glue. So it is not that the glue is holding it in place; it is tucked into the scleral pocket. Now this is the video, the same thing. Catch hold of the leading haptic, catch hold of the tip, gently exteriorize it through one port underneath the scleral flap. Then assistant is asked to hold it, stabilize it. There are many other methods of stabilizing it. While from the other end, you catch hold of the trailing haptic. And you see how it is gently pushed in posterior and then withdrawn out. Now once this is fixed, you suture the wounds and then you tuck the haptics in. Now, how to go about the port for the trocar cannula? It is easier done. Now, these are the few tips that I would like to share. It's easier done before making the flaps and other ports because the tonicity of the globe is maintained. A trocar AC maintainer can also be used. However, in unplanned cases when your globe is open, we must need to suture all wounds before making the trocar entry, then create the scleral flap so that you do not encounter hypotony while making either of this. Then make sure when you're making a entry by the MBR blade or a 20 gauge needle, make sure that you see the tip. So when you introduce your trocar cannula, make sure that you're seeing the tip through the pupillary aperture or through the anterior chamber, as whether it is a posterior entry or it is an AC entry. Now about the scleral flaps, we choose to make them at the shortest wide to wide diameter, 11 millimeter ideally, 180-degree apart. Now this is very important that they should be 180-degree apart so that later on in the surgery you do not encounter any misalignment or later on you do not face any IOL tilt. And 11 mm is ideal because you get an extra exposure of the haptic length to tuck it in. Now the flaps are about 2 millimeter into 2 millimeter in dimension at the limbus, and then we make an entry into the vitreous cavity with MPR knife or a 20 gauge needle that we find at the tip of the routine IV drip, and the entry is made just beyond the blue line. The orientation is special situations like we have a bleb or we have extensive scarring in a traumatized eye or we have very large diameters, limbal abnormalities like you see here. So we can change the orientation from a horizontal to a vertical or even an oblique axis. Now coming to the main port. Once we have the trocar and the side flap coming to the main port. Ideally, we should center the main port be it corneal or scleral, so that we have equal access to either side of the either side scleral flaps on either side. We can use a foldable or a rigid three-piece IOL. Accordingly, we'll have a clear corneal incision or a scleral incision. Now we use glue dial forceps through one scleral port to hold the tip of the leading haptic. Then it is exteriorized and as shown in the video and held firmly. Then the trailing haptic is laid onto the glue dial forceps, inserted through the second scleral port and exteriorized. We can use various techniques to lead this haptic to the glue dial, to the forceps. Now coming to haptic management in difficult situations. Glue dial itself is a difficult situation because you are in a situation where you don't have PC support and you are about to fix an IOL there. Now this is again an animated video where I'm going to show you how to manage the haptic. Haptic management is most important in all these scleral fixated IOLs. We do not want to break them. So in a case where you are primarily implanting an IOL, it is relatively easier. But when you have an IOL that is sunken in and you're trying to retrieve that IOL and fix it, or you have a sunken IOL bag complex, then it becomes slightly tricky. Here you would like to know different techniques in which you can manage the haptic without having to explant that IOL from the eye. So now this is what I had shown about the handshake technique. So you are having two hands and one hand is helping the other hand hold. Yeah. So here we'll deal with the handshake technique. Again, this is an animated video. First you hold, now this is the video where you see we are not able to find the tip of the haptic. So one, we are gradually getting to the tip with the help of two forceps. Now when you're injecting a glue dial, it's a three-piece IOL. And here I'm showing a foldable IOL. It's better if you draw out the tip of the leading haptic slightly from the cartridge so that there's not too much of manipulation in the eye. So when you are holding, you already have the tip out and then you gradually grasp it and then gently push the plunger. You're not pulling the IOL, you're generally pushing the plunger and gently that haptic is being exteriorized. Once you have the IOL open and enough length of the haptic is freed, you gently withdraw that haptic through one opening in the under the scleral flap. And then this is how you use a handshake technique. I'm not holding the tip of the haptic, but I'm holding it with one glue dial forceps while the other glue dial forceps is gaining easy access to the tip of the haptic. Now once both the haptics are out, the main wound is sutured. Then the Gabor Chariot pockets are fashioned at the base on a wall of each flap with a bent 26 gauge needle. Then the haptics are tucked. Closing vitrectomy is performed and the fibrin glue is applied. Now this is what we do once the haptics are exteriorized. Once they're exteriorized, the eye is stable, the globe is formed, suture the globe. Now we make the tunnels and then we tuck in the haptic. And once the haptic is stuck, the globe is again formed, closing vitrectomy done, and then glue applied. Now coming to the cost of the glue, it is expensive, but we have found that if we store them in two separate containers instead of mixing them up, then we can reuse the glue for a certain amount of time. Now, what are the intraoperative complications that one might face? Hypotony and choroidal effusion. This is definitely what we would not like, whether intraoperatively or postoperatively. So the trick is to always make the entry when the globe is tonic, not when it is hypotonic. So you do not have any choroidal effusions. Always see the tip of the instruments. When we inadvertently hit the base of the iris when we are making an entry, then we can have a bleed, or else we can have seepage from the conjunctiva, especially in traumatized eyes and inflamed eyes. Then flap related sometimes may have a flap loss, especially in the learning curve. That we can always suture back that flap piece, so do not throw it away. And when you have a misalignment, of course, you can play around a little with your haptic and or else you have to change the position of your flap again. Then IOL loss into the vitreous, of course, an anterior segment surgeon find it difficult, so this is to be taken over by your vitreoretina colleague. So the drive home message is it is a very good option when you have no PC support and when you want to put in an IOL in that patient. And here it is found in near anatomical position. There is no clinical pseudophacodosis noted, and good IOL positioning without significant tilt both in the horizontal vertical meridian has been documented. Thank you.